You are most welcome to another exciting review of Failing Forward by John C. Maxwell. Yes, Failing Forward by John C. Maxwell. All right. And today we're going to be looking at chapter 7 of this wonderful book, which is titled, Is the Past Holding You Hostage? Is the Past Holding You Hostage? Hostage. One reason God created time was so that there would be a place to bury the failures of the past, says James Long. All right. John C. Maxwell in this chapter said that he was 22 years old when he first started playing golf in 1969, and he was very terrible at playing golf, and he wished that he had started when he was 5 years old, just like many professional players. But then he was actually grateful that he started playing, even though he was 22 when he started playing. And he said that the person who sparked his interest in golf was Arnold Palmer. Right. So Arnold Palmer was before Tiger Woods, that many of us know to be a popular golfer. Arnold Palmer was one of the greatest sportsmen of the 20th century, and he really put professional golf on the map. Somebody said about him, he said basically he took a game that was a little too pricey, a little too clubby, a little too saturated with Ivy League men trying not to soil their cardigans and breathed sweet life into it. Another person said about Arnold Palmer, he said, "You made all this possible," talking about the game of golf, right? Of Palmer, Tiger Woods himself also stated, "He was what I wanted to be like." Many people in the generation of John C. Maxwell was born in 1947. Many people in his generation became golfers simply because of Arnold Palmer, right? Who made the game to be very, very popular. So Arnold Palmer was before Tiger Woods. Palmer had been active in professional golf for more than 40 years, and he won 92 championships, 61 of them on the USPGA Tour from 1960 to 1963. He was the greatest golfer in the world, winning 29 PGA victories. That ability got him to be named Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year in 1960 and the Athlete of the Decade according to the Associated Press poll, right? He had a down-to-earth personality. He had a sparkling personality, down-to-earth attitude. He had rugged looks. He was incredible. He was able to command a huge crowd. Many people loved him genuinely. But even at that, in spite of all his successes, victories, and everything that he recorded, he also stumbled. Any golfer, just like Arnold Palmer, can have a really bad hole. In 1969, he stumbled a great deal in Los Angeles at a very, very monumental game. He stumbled, he missed the hole, he missed, an opportunity to be celebrated, right? He missed he missed his heat several times, to the point that even up till now, or as of the time of writing this book, there was a monument that was erected in that particular place, on that sports ground, that would always remind him or anybody who visits there of the failure of this great golfer. But then he did not see it as a failure. He did not see himself as a failure. He's somebody that moves past his mistakes very, very quickly. Just like the title of this book suggests, is your past, or is the past holding you hostage? He's somebody that does not allow his past, no matter how bad, to hold him hostage, right? There is also an incident here that would have been considered to be a monumental failure. The author, John C. Maxwell, said that in 1961, right, he was playing golf in Los Angeles, and as he was about to hit, as he hit the golf was heading straight into the atmosphere, and it was about to hit, guess who? Arnold Palmer. So this was an opportunity for them to meet. And what John Maxwell considered or thought would have been a monumental failure actually turned around to become something that was rewarding for him, because days after, or no, 6 months later, Arnold Palmer sent him a letter congratulating him, John C. Maxwell, for his 50th birthday and inviting him to join their amateur senior tours, because John Palmer saw that the hit that John C. Maxwell made on that particular day, even though John Maxwell thought that that would have been a monumental failure, Arnold Palmer recognized that such a move was the move of somebody that was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal move, and he felt that, oh, if he had been a professional golfer, that would have earned him a big victory, right? So good golfers don't dwell on bad performances, not if they want to remain good golfers. And that has always been true of Arnold Palmer. Once when asked about his performance at the Open on 9 hole, he commented, "The doggone plaque will be there long after I'm gone," as in the plaque that they put there to say that this was where he missed his hit. This was where his ball went off track so many times, right? That would always be there, even long before he's gone. But you have to put things like this behind you. That is one of the wonderful things about golf. Your next shot can be as good or bad as your last one, but you will always get another chance. So this is one mentality that we should have about life. As long as we are alive, there is hope for another chance. For that thing that you thought you failed at, there is hope that you will get another chance. Life is full of ups and downs. So how does the past impact the present? The same quality that makes a professional golfer effective enables any person to overcome failure and become a strong achiever. The ability to put past events behind Arnold Palmer and then enabled him to move on, made him to live a fulfilling life. So in life, you must learn to put past events behind you. You must learn to forget yesterday. You must learn to move past your failures, your bad experiences, right? That quality positions a person to tackle current challenges with enthusiasm and a minimum of burdensome personal baggage. You don't want to go through life carrying baggage of the past 20 years, 10 years, 5 years. I used to know somebody who would always write down the wrongs of his wife in a diary. Yes, the person is late now, but he would always write down the wrongs of his wife in a diary. And anytime the wife made any mistake, he would bring out the diary and start reading the wrongs, that all the things that the wife had done wrong in the past 30, 40 years that they were married. You know, he will start reading it out to say, in 1962, this was what you did. In 1958, this was exactly how you messed up. You know, tell me, that is such a big baggage. It's terrible baggage for anybody to drag along life. How do you live a fulfilling or a happy life like that? In contrast, someone who is unable to get over previous hurts and failures is held hostage by the past. The baggage he carries around makes it very difficult for him to move forward. They may be smiling, but in their heart is a very heavy load, a very heavy burden that is dragging them back. They don't live a peaceful life. They are not fulfilled. They are not free. And this baggage, unfortunately, they are the only ones that can relieve themselves of it. Nobody can help you to take off such a baggage if you are not ready to release it, if you are not ready to let go of it. In fact, in more than 30 years of working with people, this is John C. Maxwell saying this now, that in more than 30 years of him working with people, he was yet to meet a successful person who continually dwelled on his past difficulties. Go and check any successful person. That person has left his past behind. That is how he or she is able to be successful, right? Some people allow past experiences, negative experiences, to color the way they live their lives today. They allow it to be cloud the happiness, the joy, the peace that they're supposed to be enjoying today. It may sound as if I'm making light of what may have happened to you in the past. This is John Maxwell speaking now. I'm not. I know that people suffer genuine tragedies in this imperfect world. They lose children, spouses, parents, and friends, sometimes under horrible circumstances. He said that his own dad lost his mother before he was 8 years old. We know people who became orphans at a very young age, right? I know a child, in fact, not just a child. I know a couple of children whose mother died at the point of giving birth to them, and they had to be raised by somebody else. That is very tragic. They have a choice to grow up and feel bitter and feel bad that life was unfair to them. They didn't enjoy the love of their mother and things like that. So these things happen, right? People contract cancer, multiple diseases, AIDS, and other debilitating diseases. They suffer unspeakable abuses at the hands of others. And all of these things are true, but tragedies don't have to stop a person from possessing a positive outlook, from stopping you from being productive and living life to the fullest. One man is born with severe disabilities and decides that the world owes him. We read about this yesterday. The man who was born with disability and who felt entitled that, oh, everybody owed him. The world was supposed to treat him better. They were supposed to give him preferential treatment and all of that. But the same man who also had the same disability, Roger Crawford, goes on to become a tennis professional. One person contracts AIDS, bitterly gives up on life. Another person, such as basketball's Magic Johnson, builds his business and enjoys his family life. One woman experiences rape and withdraws into herself, while another, such as Kelly McGillis, overcomes the experience and becomes a successful actress in Hollywood. No matter how dark a person's past is, it need not color his present permanently. I also read the story of Oprah Winfrey, who suffered abuse from the hands of relatives, people that were close to her. You know Oprah Winfrey. You know, she suffered abuse. But look at her today. She's not cringing. She's not hiding her light. She's not sitting in one corner crying over that. She was able to move past it. Now, when she shares the story, she doesn't feel bitter about it. That is to say that she has moved past it, right? And this will lead me to the next subheading, which says signs of past breakdown. In my experience, John Maxwell says the problems of people's past impact them in one of two ways. It is either they experience a breakdown or they experience a breakthrough. Now, we're going to look at 5 characteristics that show signs that a person has not gotten over past difficulties. These 5 characteristics will help you to recognize somebody whose past is holding hostage. And the number one way that you know is comparison. They will continually talk about how much harder they've experienced, life than other people. They will compare their own difficulties, their problems, and everything to those of other people that, oh, I had it tougher than you. I had it more difficult than you. They don't compare good things. They'll keep comparing their hurts and negative experiences. Another way you know is rationalization. Another characteristic of people trapped by their past is rationalization. They believe that there are good reasons not to get over past difficulties. They rationalize everything. They try to justify it. And this creates a fog that hinders them from finding solutions to their problems. They make excuses, right? They make excuses. They say, oh, this is a very strong reason. I was hurt. I was abused. I was raped. And so they hold on to it. They rationalize it that, oh, the person that did this to me was very, very wicked. And so they find a stronghold, a strong reason not to forgive, not to move on. Another sign is isolation, right? People who have not gotten over their past, they withdraw due to past hurts. For so many of these people, it is a natural reflex of self-protection. They feel that, oh, they are trying to protect themselves from being hurt again. And so they withdraw. They don't want to mingle with people. They don't want to take up a particular kind of job. Even people who used to be naturally outgoing before this negative experience, they now tend to go into their shell. They don't just want to relate with people. They become very miserable, right? They isolate themselves. They just keep going through life alone and lonely. Another sign is regret. A significant hindrance to living life in the present is regret. It saps people's energy and leaves little enabling them to do anything positive. They keep on regretting. If not for this, if not for that, I should have done that. I shouldn't have gone there. Why did I even visit him at that time? If only my mom went with me, this wouldn't have happened. They say all kinds of things, right? They regret. They don't move on. If you have found yourself getting on a flight to the city of regrets, recognize that it is a trip you book yourself, and you can cancel it at any time without penalty or fee. It is not like an airfare. If you book an economy class, for example, you know that, oh, you don't want to cancel it, even though you have a very strong reason to cancel it. You don't want to cancel it because you are going to be penalized. You may have to pay a fee or something like that. But if you book a trip to the city of regrets, feel free to cancel it. Just say, you know what? There is no point regretting this event. It is gone. It is gone. Regretting it is not going to make it any better, right? But you are the only one who can cancel this trip. Nobody else can cancel it for you. The fifth characteristic is bitterness. Have you met a bitter person before? Oh, they are everywhere. They are all over, right? And you can tell that this person is bitter. Wow. I don't know if I should give this example, but okay, let me not mention the name. I once lived in a country where some of the citizens are bitter, right? Let me just mention it. It is South Africa. It is South Africa. Some citizens, not all, I see that they are still bitter about the apartheid that they went through, how the whites treated them in the time of apartheid. Indeed, they were treated very badly. If you read about the history of apartheid in South Africa, it was a terrible one. It was pathetic. They were enslaved, even in their own land. They were maltreated. They were tortured, right? Look at what Mandela went through. He went to prison for so many years. He was beaten, he was battered, just because he wanted freedom for his people, just because he was speaking up against the way the blacks were being treated by the whites. And up till today, some South Africans have not forgiven the whites. In fact, some of them would do all kinds of terrible things to white people. And some of them would say it out openly. They say it out openly. They have not moved on. They feel very, very bitter. Some feel that, oh, they would have been better educated if not for apartheid, if not for the way that the whites treated them. Because in the time of apartheid, there were schools for the white people. There were schools for black people, right? The white people were maltreated. The kinds of subjects that the white people were taking in their schools were different from the subjects that the black people were taking. The black people were being taught to remain in South Africa, to take some kinds of menial jobs that were not so dignifying, while the white people in their own schools, they would take jobs that would prepare them They will take subjects, that will prepare them to take international jobs, to be relevant outside South Africa, to, jobs that will prepare them for a brighter future. The discrimination was there. Even their universities, there were universities for white people. It is now that everything is beginning to change. That policy is changing a lot of things. Like the university where I studied, the University of Pretoria, it was strictly for the whites before. Now it has changed. Black people can now study there as well. Policy is now changing most of these things. But what I'm saying is that some of these Black South Africans are still very bitter, very, very bitter, and they don't hide it. They do not hide it at all. That is what happens when you refuse to move past previous hurts, right? But the truth is that if you carry on bitterness in your life, you're only hurting yourself. Before now, I used to keep grudges a lot. If you hurt me, I can keep malice, I could keep grudges, I could, I wouldn't even want to talk to you. But then, who was being hurt? It's not the person that I was keeping grudges against. It was myself. I am the one carrying this baggage around. The person may be living a free life, enjoying, having fun and all of that. But you, living in bitterness, carrying grudges, you are the one bearing the brunt. You are the one poisoning yourself. You are the one living in bondage. People who don't get beyond the problems or the pain of the past eventually become bitter. It is the inevitable consequence of not processing old injuries and tragedies. Right? People do not have to remain victims of their past. But when they do, they become prisoners of their own emotions. You are not free. You are not happy. Just because you refuse to forgive. Often as adults, those prisons are addictive. Some will start burying themselves in their work. They become workaholics. Some will bury themselves in alcohol. Some will become sexual addicts. Some will become, some will take on eating addictions and so on. So they put themselves in prisons. They say, oh, I would never forgive my father. I would never forgive that woman. I would never forgive my mom for what she did. Even though their mom had passed on, right? Who is the prisoner here? In other words, we allow the past to hold us hostage. No matter what you've experienced, remember this. There are people who have had it better than you and done worse. And there are also people who have had it worse than you and done better. So the circumstances really have nothing to do with getting over your personal history. It has to do with you. Past thoughts can make you bitter or better. The choice is yours. Anytime you feel bitter, anytime you feel hurt, take breakthrough as an alternative to breakdown. Don't break down. Experience breakthrough instead. Every major difficulty you face in life is a fork in the road. You choose which track you will head down, towards breakdown or breakthrough. All of us have unfair experiences in life. Dick Briggs said that an average person should expect to experience 3 to 9 turning points or significant changes in his or her life, right? But then it is not about those changes. It is your attitude to it. Do you want to keep holding on to it and not forgiving yourself and not moving on? Or you just want to break through it? Or you want to break down in the course of these challenges, in the course of these negative experiences? If you've been badly hurt, then start by acknowledging the pain. Grieve over it. Don't bottle up your emotions. That's the mistake some people make. They try to bottle up their emotions. Grieve. Cry if you want to cry. Rant if you want to rant. Shout if you want to shout. But let it out. Let it out. Right? Let it out. Then forgive the people involved. Forgive yourself as well. There are people who don't forgive themselves. They feel that, oh, they messed up big time. Forgive yourself. Doing this will help you to move on. If you cannot do it on your own, then ask for the help of a professional, a counselor, a therapist, a pastor, somebody that you think can be of aid to you, because you don't want to live in bondage. It is difficult to let go sometimes. You may not be able to do it on your own, but then you just have to forgive yourself. You just have to find a way. You just have to do it for your own peace of mind. I mean, you don't want to lose twice. This is the way I see it. Somebody already hurt you. Maybe the person abused you, the person maltreated you. Is it not even bad enough that you have to go through that? This is not to minimize the pain that you feel, right? But this is to say that it was terrible enough that you had to go through it. Now, don't compound the problem by becoming a prisoner to your own emotions. Don't compound the problem by holding the person in your heart and not letting go of the person, of the hurt. And the worst thing is that this person may be going around town, living his or her life. Some of them may not even remember that they did something to you, right? So just let it out. Commit it to God. Sometimes you have to, it's not even sometimes, you have to pray about it. Ask God to help you for your own peace of mind. Now, we have a story here, and this is the last story that we're going to take. It is a story of Sister Frances Cabrini. In 1889, not 1889, she was 38 years old. She was a nun, and she got off the boat at Ellis Island. She was thinking about the task ahead of her. She wasn't thinking about a problem. This lady went through so many problems in life, challenges that was enough to keep her at a spot, to say, you know what, I've gone through life, terrible things in life. Life has been unfair to me. I'm just going to sit here and take whatever life throws at me. So, but then she was not preoccupied with any of the problems from her past, even though she had experienced plenty of them. Sister Frances was born 2 months premature in the Lombardy town of St. Angelo in Italy, where she remained the sickliest child in her village as she grew up. At the age of 6, she decided that she wanted to become a missionary to China. But then people mocked her dream, including her own sister, who would say to her, a missionary order would never accept a girl who is ill most of her time. When she clocked 12, she took a vow of chastity that she was going to become a nun. And when she reached the age of 18, the minimum age required, she applied to join the Daughters of the Sacred Heart convent, but she was rejected because she was very, very sickly. The rejection did not make her give up her dream of ministering in Asia. She began doing what she could do in her own village to build her strength, to prove her worth. She taught neighborhood children, she cared for older villagers, and when a smallpox epidemic hit, she nursed family and friends through it until she became sick. After she recovered from this sickness, she reapplied to the convent, and then she was turned down again. She was rejected. 6 years after, she finally gained acceptance into the order, into this convent, and she thought that this would help her or take her closer to ministering in China. But then she did not know that she was about to experience many more difficulties on her journey. Within 1 year after she joined the convent, her parents died, both her dad and her mom. And she was now taken to a local school to teach instead of being sent to China. Even at that, she did not give up. She didn't give up. After that, she applied to organizations devoted to working in Asia. She was rejected, and afterwards, she was posted to a small orphanage, which later closed down. She spent like 6 years frustrated in that orphanage. She was really frustrated working there for 6 years. Still, she did not give up on her dream of traveling to Asia, right? She wanted to become a part of a missionary order, and somebody advised her that if she would have any chance of going to Asia, she had better establish her own missionary order. And this was what led her to establishing the Missionary Sisters of the Sacred Heart. She took like 6 girls from the orphanage, and then they were able to start. And her foundation grew. She established a foundation in Milan, in Rome, and other Italian cities. And she thought that, she would be able to go to China, to fulfill her dream. But Pope Leo VIII put an end to Cabrini's dream of ministering in Asia, in China, when he told her, not to the east, but to the west, you will find a vast field of labor in the United States. And she was to help run an orphanage, school, and convent in New York City. You see, she did not eventually go to China, but she did not feel bitter about it. She did not wallow in misery, self-pity, or pain to say that, oh, her hope of going to China was dashed. She wanted to go to the east, but then she had to be in the west. What did she do? This is how Sister Frances Cabrini came to be at Ellis Island in March 1889. Her lifelong dream of serving in Asia lay ruins behind her in Italy, the only home she had ever known. But she didn't look back. She was not someone to allow her past to hold her hostage. Over the next 28 years, she dedicated herself to the task of ministering to people in the Americas. And she overcame plenty of obstacles. When she arrived in New York, she was told that the plans of the orphanage, school, and convent had fallen through. She did not allow this to hold her back. Instead, she solved all the problems that they were experiencing. And she established the facilities as planned. It didn't matter what difficulties she faced, she continually overcame them. And by the time she died in 1917, at the age of 67, she had founded more than 70 hospitals, schools, and orphanages in the United States, Spain, France, England, and South America. There is a hospital in Abeokuta, Ogun State, Nigeria, called Sacred Heart Hospital. I wanted to search if she was the one who also founded it. Somebody should please help me check. I actually forgot. I wanted to search. This hospital is owned. Yes, I think that she could be the one because it is a Catholic hospital. I think she was the one. This hospital is a Catholic hospital, and it is one of the best hospitals in Abeokuta. People would always want to go there. People always want to go there, right? Because they know that when they get there, they are going to receive the best of treatment. And up till date, they are still receiving the best of treatment. It is better than many other public hospitals, right? Oh, it's in Ibadan too. Fantastic. You see, she had founded 70 hospitals, schools, and orphanages in the United States, Spain, France, England, and South America. Maybe at the time of writing this book, Sacred Heart in Abeokuta and Ibadan in Nigeria had not been founded. Maybe it would have been included here, but these are just a few cities where hospitals, schools, and all of that exist. Cabrini's impact was incredible. She was the Mother Teresa of her day, possessing similar compassion, grit, tenacity, and leadership. But she would never have made a difference if she had allowed her past to hold her hostage. Instead of lamenting the loss of her dream, that, oh, I couldn't go to China, oh, I've been sickly, and the hurt of her youth, she moved on and did what she could where God put her. My hope is that you can do the same. This story reminds me of the story, Sacred Heart Schools. Thank you. It also reminds me of the story of Pastor Sam Adeyemi. He said that when he was much younger, he frantically wanted to travel out of Nigeria. He just wanted to go, right? But he was denied visa several times. And when he calmed down, when he relaxed, that was when God used him to start Success Power, a radio program that became very popular. And then he went ahead to start Daystar Christian Center. Look at the church today. So sometimes if you really, really want to go east, and God is saying, remain in the west, or go north, or go south, don't be stubborn about it. Don't feel bitter about it. All you need to do at this point is, God, what are you trying to say? Maybe God wants to make, to bring something glorious out of that situation by you remaining where you are. It is not all the time that you really want to go where you want to go. That may not be where God wants you to go. Maybe if she had gone to China, she may not have accomplished all the things that she accomplished, right? Look at Sam Adeyemi today. Look at the church. Eventually, he and his family have now relocated to America. But after God has established them here, after God has used them to touch lives, and God is still using them to touch lives, every now and then they will come to Nigeria to host programs. Recently, they held the leadership conference and all of that. Now he's fulfilling purpose. He is happy. Look at the several people under the ministry who also feel fulfilled, who are also happy. So sometimes don't be stubborn, right? Don't feel bitter if things don't go your way. Don't become a prisoner to your own emotions to say, oh, God did not treat me well. Calm down, relax. It may not be so easy. But if you relax, you may see what God is trying to bring out of you in that particular situation or that location where God wants you to stay, right? Now we're going to conclude with a few words and a task for you. And this is to say goodbye to yesterday. To move forward today, you must learn to say goodbye to yesterday's hurts, tragedies, and baggage. You cannot build a monument to past problems and fail forward. There's no way you will keep remembering your past hurts and then make progress at the same time. It is not possible. It is either you remain in yesterday or you move over to tomorrow, right? You cannot be in the past and the present at the same time. It is not possible. Take time to right now. Take time right now to list the negative events from your past that may be holding you hostage. Maybe a guy broke your heart, you felt that you could have gotten married, or that lady jilted you, or anything at all. Or somebody made you lose a very fantastic opportunity, or a nurse at the hospital made you lose a child. We've had cases of nurses who, out of neglect, caused a mother to lose her child during delivery. I know somebody that, like a relative, who became handicapped in the course of birth, right? She became disabled just because the nurses on duty did not handle the delivery very well. Look at what the child has to go through. Now she has to live her life in that shape, right? That is enough to make her bitter all through her life, to make her parents bitter as well. But they just have to let go. They shouldn't compound the problem. So list all of these negative experiences. Now, this is what you have to do. You have to acknowledge the pain. Don't live in denial. Then number 2, grieve the loss. Cry if you want to cry. Shout, rant, whatever you want to do, grieve. Give yourself time to grieve the loss. Then number 3, forgive the person. Then number 4, forgive yourself. Then number 5, determine to release the events and move on. If you're having a hard time because you're holding grudges, talk to God about it and ask Him to help you through the process. No matter how difficult this becomes, persevere through it. You will not be able to be your best today until you say goodbye to yesterday. So say goodbye to yesterday. It is not easy. Nobody's saying it is easy. But let go. Let go and let God. Forget anybody. Forgive anybody, that you may be holding in your heart. These small hearts, don't put anybody there. A whole human being. You want to put in this your heart. It's not, let the person go. Leave the judgment to God. The Bible says, God says in the Bible, vengeance is mine, right? Let God take over. Free yourself. You deserve to live the best life that you can live. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for joining me on this review. Please don't forget to like this video, share your comments with me, and please subscribe to this channel in case you are yet to subscribe. Tomorrow, we're going to have another interesting review, and we're going to be looking at chapter 8 of this book, which is titled, Who is this person making these mistakes? You don't want to miss that. I'll see you tomorrow by God's grace. Until then, be intentional. Bye.